13 is learning more about the case surrounding an Albuquerque police detective shot by his lieutenant. Charges have now been dropped against the two men who police were going after that day. Police say Damian Bailey and Edmund Vester sold undercover cops meth earlier this month at Central and Tramway. News 13 learned that charges against the two have been dropped at the request of APD. The department would not go on camera, but did tell us drug charges will be refiled once all officers involved are in a better state to assist with the prosecution. The district attorney's office tells us APD requested more time to complete that case. Meantime, the undercover detective, Jacob Grant, still in critical condition. The lieutenant who police say shot Grant has been interviewed, but Detective Grant has not, and there are still questions about the shooting. APD says one of the suspects pulled out what they later learned was a pellet gun. Both Bailey and Vester have not yet faced weapons charges or assault on an officer in this case.
Meanwhile, last night, News 13 got word from Albuquerque police that officers made several drug arrests at the area known as Tent City. That's near First and Iron. Just last week, the mayor's office said after letting the homeless campers live there for months, it was time for a change. This after Tent City was becoming littered with crime like drug and prostitution. And it's those changes that have city officials out this morning asking questions in an effort to get the homeless now living there the help they really need. We have crews out in the downtown area live this morning. City councilors and volunteers are out talking to the homeless community about the help they need before the city cleans up. This is the second day of the street survey being conducted on the people living there. They're asking questions on mental health, length of time on the street, military service, and disability. After they're done surveying people on the street, they'll head to shelters and other places that serve the homeless to get more surveys completed there.
You know, we did some checking this morning, and it appears a suspected car thief caught by APD canines is still locked up. The chase later ended in a homeowner's backyard. Police say Simon Gonzalez stole a car, then led them on a chase to an area near Unser and Gibson and hid. Police say he tried to break into a house, but somebody there called 911, and that's when police and canines found him hiding in the man's backyard. Gonzalez was just released from jail 2 weeks ago for burglary. We now know the name of the bicyclist hit and killed by a driver on Monday night. Albuquerque police say 30-year-old Ernesto Key was crossing Coors near Paseo from east to west. Police say a vehicle traveling south on Coors hit him as he was crossing the road. Charges are not expected to be filed against that driver.
Happening today as parts of the Northeast began to get back to normal after a massive snowstorm. Some areas are not out of the woods just yet. Take a look at this video. Snow continued to blanket parts of eastern Massachusetts overnight, freezing some homes and some cars buried under snow. About 30 miles south of Boston, Marshfield saw some of the worst damage when a snowstorm-driven high tide destroyed a portion of the seawall, knocking some homes off their foundations. Several homes flooded as some residents refused to evacuate. Travel ban across the state of Massachusetts was lifted at midnight. The governor urged residents to exercise caution, but staying home if possible.
There's a tremendous amount of cleanup that remains to be done, and unless you have a reason to be out tonight or tomorrow after midnight, we would encourage you not to be.
And the worst is not over just yet. Crews are busy out trying to restore power to thousands of residents this morning. With the storm winding down, flights are expected to resume this morning.
Meantime, at 5 minutes past the hour, we're staying on top of the latest in a shooting near the New Mexico and Arizona border involving two officers. This happened late last night. The Arizona officers were dispatched to a domestic violence call when they exchanged gunfire with the suspect, 29-year-old Chris Ingram, along Highway 191 in Morenci near New Mexico's Boot Heel. Ingram was killed in the shootout. The officers were treated at a Tucson hospital for non-life-threatening injuries. A Texas judge is refusing to throw out felony abuse of power cases against one case that is against former governor and possible presidential hopeful Rick Perry. The charges stem from his attempts to force Travis County DA Rosemary Lindbergh to step down after her DWI arrest. He's accused of vetoing $7.5 million of state funding from the public integrity unit she oversees when she didn't. Perry's defense team had sought to have the proceedings dismissed, but the judge ruled yesterday that the case should indeed proceed.
New this morning, another plane threat, this time in Dallas, following bomb threats over social media. The tweets were sent out Monday about a Dallas-bound flight. One read, quote, I have a massive semi-nuclear explosive on board Flight 4200 from San Diego to Dallas. If it fails, I will shoot the plane. Another threatened to bomb the plane. While the company worked with authorities to handle those threats, passengers were unaware of the threat and say it's a good thing they didn't know too much.
I think it only would have lended to maybe some chaos on the flight. So the fact that we are here and all is well shows that those in control do have it under control.
And this comes in the wake of several flights across the country that have been diverted due to safety concerns. Dallas officials say this flight was not diverted and landed safely in Dallas.
29 years ago today, the Space Shuttle Challenger exploded 73 seconds into the flight. That explosion killed 7 crew members, including Krista McAuliffe. She would have been the first teacher in space. The explosion was caused by a rocket booster failure, which ignited the fuel tank. It's hard to forget those images, right?
Yeah.